From a woman who spent months filing false abuse complaints against her husband's ex-wife and had the full wrath of Judge Judy brought down on her for it.
This is outrageous! This is outrageous!
To a man who defied a court ruling out loud and had to watch Judge Judy sit back down and take everything from him.
Thank
Come on,
you.
get the dog.
Oh, you say excuse, you may step out.
What did he just say?
Wait here.
These are the most satisfying downfalls ever witnessed in Judge Judy's courtroom. Starting with one of the most spectacular self-destructions in the show's entire run, because most people who commit fraud at least have the instinct not to describe it out loud in front of a judge.
According to you, you went to her home and you smashed the windows of her car.
Kathy Schuler sold her colleague Aaron Lake a 2006 Honda Accord for $4,000 with monthly payments. When Lake fell behind on those payments, Schuler didn't take her to court, she didn't call a lawyer. Instead, she vandalized the car herself and filed a fraudulent insurance claim. But even that wasn't the most shocking part, because next she did the one thing nobody in that room expected.
You did not have any right to do that.
Yeah, she admitted to vandalizing the vehicle and then filing a fake insurance claim because she felt she had the right to.
Well, I feel I did, Your Honor,
Well,
because
I
it was
don't
going
give
to be
a rat's
me that
behind
they
what
were going
you
to come
feel.
after.
Judy ruled for Lake immediately.
Bring a judgment in the amount of $1,630.
Oh, but the ruling was only the beginning of Schuler's downfall, because within days of the episode airing, the California Department of Insurance opened a formal fraud investigation and subpoenaed the episode as evidence. Oh, poor Kathy came in to collect money from a woman she had wronged and left having provided investigators with everything they needed to come after her. But her self-destruction was still pretty small time compared to what Joshua Pritchard did, because he came in with a fake case built on top of his own crimes.
This young lady, who is either your girlfriend or your fiance, is...
Okay, J-Dubs obtained a restraining order against his girlfriend's brother-in-law after the man physically assaulted him.
He assaulted you.
But what Joshua didn't lead with was the reason the assault happened. Apparently Joshua had stolen money from the guy.
Plaintiff stole your money.
And now he was lying to Judy about it.
Why'd you take the money?
I didn't take it.
But that's not even the worst part, because after that, Joshua took a job at the defendant's favorite casino and sued him for violating the restraining order by making eye contact with him while he was working.
And made eye contact with him.
Petty AF. Judy listened to this, and with every question she asked, the man Joshua had a restraining order against started looking less like a threat and more like somebody who'd been robbed and then legally barred from looking at the person who did it. But the final nail in the coffin was the police report of the eye contact incident, to which Judy said this.
That was...
This report doesn't help you at all.
Joshua basically robbed the man and then sued him for making eye contact with him. But Joshua's dishonesty was nothing compared to what Edward Hallmark threw away, because he walked into that courtroom with a case he'd already won and then destroyed it with his own paperwork. Landlord Edward Hallmark's former tenant, Sean Lump, had genuinely trashed the apartment. He had real photographs, real documentation of the damage, and a legitimate claim for every dollar he was asking for. That was until he submitted his invoices.
So that was the condition I found it in.
The invoices listed himself and his girlfriend as the contractors who had performed the repairs on the trash property, but they weren't licensed contractors, and the invoices were fabricated.
These people.
That's myself and my girlfriend.
So you gave me invoices for you and your girlfriend.
Our time that we spent cleaning out the basement.
Judy found it ridiculous, and so she dismissed the entire case. Not just the fraudulent invoices, everything. The legitimate photographs, the real damage, the money he was actually owed, all of it, poof, gone because of the paperwork he had fabricated to try to inflate a claim that didn't need inflating.
We're done.
Your Honor.
We're done. Your case is dismissed.
Lomp, the tenant who had actually trashed the apartment, walked out owing nothing because his landlord couldn't resist trying to get more than he deserved. The landlord came in with a winning hand and just destroyed himself. But at least Edward only destroyed a court case. The next two people spent months trying to have a mother's children taken away from her using false accusations, and they did it 3 separate times. A mother sued her ex-husband's girlfriend for distributing flyers around their neighborhood, accusing her of child abuse.
Strange woman had gone through the neighborhood, knocked on the door, and handed out these flyers.
When the girlfriend was asked if she distributed those flyers, this was her answer.
Flyers that you gave to them, is that correct?
One.
Surprisingly, she admitted to distributing them. But when Judy pressed further, the full picture came out. She and the ex-husband had filed 3 separate complaints with Child Protective Services against the mother. All 3 had been investigated, and all 3 had been found completely without merit.
And how many times did you go to Child Protective Services?
3 times.
And of the 3 times that you went there, was any action taken, any case filed against their mother?
There's an open case, but nothing was filed against her.
And the children remain in her care.
This was starting to sound a lot like a coordinated campaign to have a mother's children removed from her home using false accusations, repeated 3 times after the first 2 failed. But what's truly bizarre is how these 2 were treating their own 17-year-old daughter who lived at their home.
I pulled her out of the school system.
Why?
I don't like the high school near my home.
Yeah, Judy had something to say to these 2.
This is outrageous! This is outrageous! You are a mean, vindictive woman.
Next, she turned to the father and she told him that if she were the family court judge overseeing his custody arrangement, he'd be seeing his children under supervised visitation only.
You, sir, would see your children under a supervised visitation arrangement only. And I am a very serious proponent of fathers having as unrestricted quality time if they are not the custodial parents of children.
With that, the girlfriend lost the case and the defamation judgment. But the most satisfying moment wasn't the ruling. As watching the woman who had spent months filing false complaints get told directly what Judge Judy thought of her as a person. But her behavior was almost understandable compared to Michaela's, because Michaela's vandalism was so brazen that Judy turned to her mother in the courtroom and asked what was wrong with her. Okay, most people who vandalize somebody's property and end up in court at least have the instinct to say, I don't know, they're sorry. But Michaela didn't come to Judge Judy's courtroom to apologize. Her friend Brighton, who came as a witness, explained what Michaela had done and why.
She said, guess what I did? I said what?
Even more shocking was her reasoning behind it.
Did you ask her why?
She said because she deserved it.
Judy listened to the reasoning, but then she turned to ask Michaela's mom what was wrong with this individual.
Oh, I've called the police several times. She's been in facilities. She's received treatment, been to therapy, tried medications. But being a single mom, it was hard to keep her safe.
It was all starting to make sense now, but Judy didn't feel sorry for Michaela.
Sadly, your daughter is a liar. She's a thief.
Unfortunately, Michaela was too much of a smart mouth for anybody to sympathize with her. When Judy did try to teach her a thing or 2 about fixing her life, this was her response.
I have a question.
Yes.
You said you get paid to lecture me or not, so why do you choose to?
Judy slapped her with a judgment and wrapped it all up.
Probably have a great deal of potential. You're taking it and throwing it down the toilet. $684. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Of course, Michaela could do nothing about it, but at least Michaela owned what she did. Elena Menz walked into that courtroom with a legitimate wages claim she was about to win, and then built a sexual harassment case on top of it using photos she pulled off of Facebook. She had 2 cases against her former boss, Bartholomew Ben Israel, unpaid wages and sexual harassment. She walked into that courtroom as both a wronged employee and a victim, but little did she know she would leave as neither.
Did Mr. Ben Israel make sexual advances to you?
Now, before she presented the sexual harassment case, her wages claim was legitimate enough that Judy was about to rule in her favor on the spot. But Elena had also claimed Bartholomew had been inappropriate with her,
uncomfortably touching me, and I thought it was just because he was drinking.
Making it all even less credible was the Facebook post she put up slandering the defendant and threatening to come after everything he had. She was already starting to look really vindictive, but then she made the most absurd claim of all. She told Judy that Bartholomew had sent her explicit photographs directly and personally.
I have inappropriate pictures that he sent.
But the photos hadn't been sent to her at all. Elena had pulled them from Bartholomew's public Facebook and Instagram and repackaged them as evidence of targeted personal harassment. She built an entire sexual harassment case out of images anybody with an internet connection could have found.
Those were taken off my Instagram, my Facebook page.
Judy immediately told her that she was gonna pay for this.
Okay.
You know what, Miss Menz, that's going to cost you? $1,036.
And that's exactly what it cost her. Bartholomew walked out with his name cleared and his money intact. And Elena walked out with nothing. Not the harassment claim, not the wages, not even the benefit of the doubt that she had when she first walked in. But Elena's lies at least took some effort to construct. And Aisha Burwell's story was so full of holes, it didn't even survive the first 5 minutes of questioning. Taekwon Malloy came to Judge Judy claiming his ex-girlfriend, Aisha, had bleached his clothes, had him falsely arrested, and defamed his character. 3 charges. He walked in playing the victim, and he wasn't entirely wrong, but Aisha's story had a problem that she hadn't spotted yet.
Mr. Malloy, it is your claim that the defendant with whom you were living after an argument had you falsely arrested.
The false arrest charge died immediately. Taekwon admitted the cuffs came off after 10 minutes. He was never taken anywhere.
They had the cuffs on for about 10 minutes due to a third-party confirmation of the story, which kind of matched mine, so they took the cuffs off.
And then came the bleach. Anaya claimed Taekwon had grabbed a gallon bottle and poured it directly on her, into her eyes, down her throat, everywhere. She even had medical records to show for it.
And the bleach was poured on me. Poured in my eyes, poured in my hair and everything, and I have the medical records to state that.
Now, her story sounded airtight, until Judy asked her to walk through it step by step.
How did you go to grab it from him?
I was behind him and I went to grab it.
Anaya said she was behind him, reached around him to grab the bottle, and that's when he got her in a headlock. Judy stopped her right there.
Then he can't have you in a headlock. Listen to me, if you're behind him and reach around him, you could have him in a headlock, but he can't have you in a headlock.
Obviously, the physics clearly didn't work, so she started adding new details, slipping, sliding, catching her balance with every hole Judy poked in her story.
I'm slipping and sliding. With him slipping and sliding, I'm trying to catch my balance and I end up in a headlock.
Well, that did not sound promising at all, especially given the police report which read that both of them had been treated for bleach exposure at the same time. Not just her, both of them.
The police report says that both of you were treated for exposure to bleach.
Yeah, that was all the evidence that Judy needed. Anaya walked in presenting herself as the victim of a one-sided chemical attack. But the police report said otherwise. Her own story said otherwise. And her conduct throughout the hearing, interrupting, shouting, unable to control herself even in a courtroom, it all said the rest.
You're in a courtroom. I've already told you, don't shout out. I already told you, don't talk to them. You can't control yourself.
Judy was ready to rule, and they were sent packing.
Your case is dismissed, so's your counterclaim. We're done.
But her downfall at least happened during the hearing, because Devon Henderson waited until Judy was literally walking out of the room and then made the worst decision of his entire day. Devon came to Judge Judy's courtroom fighting for ownership of a dog that wasn't his. He lost. And then, because losing wasn't humiliating enough, and the 5 seconds between the verdict and the door, he decided to make everything significantly worse.
I'm going to prepare an order that a marshal is coming to pick up the dog.
As Judy delivered this verdict and stood up to leave, Henderson muttered something under his breath that indicated he had absolutely no intention of honoring what she had just ordered.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Come on, get the dog. Excuse, you may step out.
What did he just say?
Wait here.
The dude was looking real smug, turning down a court order, but Judy sat back down and told him exactly what would happen if he left that building without complying. His appearance fee was going nowhere, his plane ticket home to Washington was going nowhere, and neither was he until that dog was handed over.
You abide by my decision, or we do a zippity-doo-dah for you, including getting you home. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
The man, who 4 seconds ago had been confident enough to defy a court order, out loud, suddenly had very little to say. Naturally, he complied. The dog was returned, and Henderson learned something that everybody who's ever tried to have the last word with Judge Judy eventually learns, that you don't get to win.